In military term, you have strategic thinking and you have tactical thinking. Strategic thinking is when you're thinking on the long term, like instead of just trying to win that particular battle, you're thinking the big picture. You're thinking about to win the war, And tactical means like you have a situation and you have to react now, in the instant. In order to win the war, in order that your strategic goals get achieved, you also need tactical wins.
Welcome to the Welsh Yogi podcast.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to the 102nd episode of the Welsh Yogi podcast.
Wow.
We're joined by
Gopal, and our special guest, very special guest, is Gauranga Gopal. Prabhu?
I share a name with you.
Yeah, I'm Gopal Roy, and this is Gauranga Gopal.
Yeah.
So today we actually do have a plan, and Gauranga Gopal recently has given a few seminars on, I guess, like New Year's resolutions, making determinations, and things like that. So I'm interested to hear. I was when you were saying you were going to talk about this subject, I remembered in Bhagavad Gita, in one of the purports, where Srila Prabhupada says that the test of a yogi or devotee or self-realized soul is that he's able to control the senses according to his plan. So one of being a Welsh yogi is to be able to have a plan and be able to follow it out. And I think one of the difficulties that I experience is having a plan and not always being able to follow it. If I could follow it, then my life would be better. So,
Yeah.
Any advice, Gauranga?
Well, according to my research, which was about an hour just earlier before the podcast.
Can I just introduce Gauranga? You went to the Sorbonne.
Yeah.
He studied law in the Sorbonne. Is that how you say it?
Sorbonne.
Which is the most prestigious university in Europe and probably one of the most prestigious universities in the world.
Wow.
And he studied law there.
For free.
So,
Well, it's like one of the oldest universities in Europe. So you have Oxford, you got the Sorbonne, you got I can remember in Italy.
Cambridge, was it?
Yeah, Cambridge is also quite old, but in Italy you got Bologna. Maybe I can't remember, but anyway, you got a few different like old universities, and it's got a name for itself. Basically.
So he's an intelligent man. Just let's sorry.
Well, don't sound me like that. But
and you did well, didn't you? Didn't you?
Maybe it's not
well,
good,
I guess
it's not good.
No, okay.
I did well. I'm a monk now, so
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So I was thinking the same thing. Like you try to make a plan for your life to change bad habits into good habits, and most of the time things happen and you fail. So you have a study that says that. Actually, maybe you can tell me how long after the 1st of January will people fail to carry on their resolutions in average?
This, isn't it?
I can answer that one.
Okay.
Well, but that's because I tried to do a resolution with Sarah, and I've been trying to do a Ayurvedic resolution for my health, and I was doing well, but I hit a hurdle last weekend, so that's probably 17th. So 2 weeks, I'd say.
Okay, well, remember, it's an average, so it's basically on the 13th of January, people fail to carry on their resolutions. And so you can relate. I can relate, certainly. And I can remember when I was, not in the ashram, not as a monk. Well, let's say my life in university, was, you have no accountability. In France, one of the advantages, I guess, is you don't have to pay thousands and thousands of pounds to study. It's taken care of by the state. And my life was pretty much just try to be merry as much as you can, enjoy, and and just try to graduate somehow. And you go through your life in autopilot. You kind of stay in your comfort zone, but you feel like you have better potential. You could do something of your life, but you don't actually do it because maybe the willpower is lacking or something like that. Yeah. So one thing I was just thinking, because there's one website that I found like years ago, and it's kind of like a reality check. I don't know if you've ever been on it. It's called TIII.me. So basically time. And it calculates your total time spent watching TV shows and films.
Oh, really?
And when I did that test, and I saw that, from, a few hours it became days, and from days it became months, that I wasted doing that, it's a bit scary, So at that point, you just think, well, maybe I want to change my habits and become a better person.
You did that at one point?
I did that at one point, yeah. So sometimes, you need like a reality check, to like tell you, okay, you have to like do something,
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult to change your habits, though, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
because you've got them your whole life.
Yeah, even like when, people who smoke, like I used to smoke, I used to buy like a pack of cigarettes years ago, and then on the packet is like, someone's lungs are being, like a picture of lungs that are destroyed, or, saying this causes cancer, smoking kills. But that wasn't enough to make me stop. Yeah, I was just thinking, I don't know why I brought that, but it's, like you were saying, it's difficult to give up. So it's good to have a wake-up call, but sometimes...
Well, I remember the way I could like finish with smoking cigarettes was when I first met with the devotees in New Zealand. And I started to practice to chant Hare Krishna and so on. And I had that lady she was looking after me, Dayamaya. And for my birthday, she said, maybe you should, give up something, and maybe you should give up smoking cigarettes.
It's interesting that she did that as a preaching.
Yeah, and like no way I was thinking I could do it, but then I said, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. She said, do it for Krishna. And I said, well, I don't really know Krishna just yet, And then she said, just do it for me, And this is kind of what, like, really convinced me, because I was really, she was like very motherly with me, and she was so caring. So I decided, okay, for my birthday, I'm gonna give up this,
Do you still keep in touch with her at all? Do you know what she's up to?
I saw her in Vrindavan when we last went there. I may have sent her a couple of messages, since, but she is the one that brought me to Bhakti, and she's an amazing soul. And anyway, from the day of my 25th birthday onward, I stopped, and I never looked back, never looked back. So I felt maybe, the idea of like, if you want to give up something to please someone that you love, then that helps. I think this is what helped me for sure.
Yeah, and there's a Bhagavad Gita verse 259. So that one can only give up something lower when they get a higher taste, and if that relationship is giving you access to a higher taste, then it must have been enough for you to. I mean, that the chanting that you were probably doing at that time, right? You were reading, you were getting some spiritual taste.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like any
accountability. That's the other thing, isn't it? To be accountable to someone. That's just like a whole other thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's a different sort of, like when you connect, trying to give up bad habits with bhakti, then obviously you get the strength coming from your practice, So
I also found it helpful when you're giving positive engagement for the senses as well. So like, okay, don't stop eating meat, but then you can eat wonderful prasadam. So you don't, we don't go to nightclubs, and I don't go to Wine Street anymore in Swansea, but you go to kirtans and have, like Tankanath was saying yesterday, wasn't he, yesterday evening, when a couple of years ago you had some girls who came for the kirtan, and they were just, when they were finished and they were walking out of the temple, they were just buzzing, and they were like, wow, giggling, and Tankanath said, well, you guys are high as kites, right? And they're like, yeah. And they didn't really understand what the mechanics and of what happened. No. But there's something, like you were saying, experience the higher taste. Pramjishvarnavartante. So giving do you know if you have a child who's making a mess or doing something naughty, if you give them some positive engagement, so it's like that with the senses. Isn't it? Some people try and restrain the senses or do nothing. But if you give some positive engagement, and like smoking's to do, I guess, with the tongue, Vancha Vegam Manasa Kroda Vegam. So if you give the tongue something positive to do, like chant Hare Krishna and take prasadam, and things become easier.
Because it's not enough, like, Tankanath was saying that this morning, wasn't it, that, you have a pack of cigarettes and you have like people with like throat cancer or mouth or whatever. It's just horrible pictures. It's not enough. Say, for example, you want to stop eating meat, and you hear or you see slaughterhouses videos, or you get convinced somehow that it's not good for your health, it's not good for the environment, it's not good for so many different reasons. Well, it may kind of last you for a certain time, but it's not uncommon at all that people who stop eating meat just for these reasons start again.
Yeah, because the taste is still there. The taste hasn't been transferred to something else, but it's just been kind of walked away from. But it's still the hunger for it is there for the cigarette.
I can't believe Russell Brand is now eating meat again.
Yeah.
That's crazy to
he?
me. Yeah.
Well, it proves the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
It does prove the point that if the habit is not sustained by, I don't know, like a actual spiritual practice that gives you that taste, then, because like he's Christian, right? No, is it?
Now he's like a full-on Christian.
So not eating meat,
which is different from us. For someone who gave that comment in the last video that we're just repackaged Christianity, which might be a compliment. I mean,
you do love Jesus.
Yeah. So, sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, but like the eating meat is not one of the not eating meat is not one of the regulations of Christianity. So if he has associated,
should be though. Thou shalt not kill.
Yeah. Well, in fact, it is not. It isn't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So if he starts to associate with people who are not, are still eating meat, then obviously it's gonna rub on him.
Yeah.
Or not just him, but anyone.
Which is a shame. Like, I don't tell the story often, but it's like these. Sometimes not doing these things, they're not just like, oh, thou shalt not do these things, and then you're following some sort of law, so then you get some reward. But they're actual like conditions that facilitate a spiritual experience. It's like any science. So if you want to experience self-realization and the happiness of Krishna consciousness, then you just have to. These are your do's and your don'ts in order to facilitate that. It's not just some like blanket rule. It's like I'm following one religion and they tell me not to do this. But I've changed my religion and they got different rules. Well, do you know what I mean? Because it's a shame. It's like, okay, if this person really wants, for example, even just to increase qualities that are conducive for spiritual life, like compassion, then there's certain activities which are conducive to that, like not killing animals and eating their flesh.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's a shame that, because it dulls your senses.
But then you need because there's niyama, or what's the yes and the no's? What do the do and the don'ts?
Niyama.
We've got the don'ts, but what are the do's, and how do the do's give you that experience that give you the strength not to go back to the don'ts? Like, because in Krishna consciousness, and we have all this positive engagement. Yeah. But if you just have the don't do this, don't do that, you might bring you up to a certain level, and you may fear, okay, if I don't do these things, then. If I avoid doing these things, then something bad won't happen to me. But then you just, you're eventually going to glide down, isn't it? It's the nature of this world that it kind of, the materialistic atmosphere kind of sucks you back in. If you don't have something to grab onto. Yeah,
which is why you should always the positives are more important. Doing the positives is more important in some ways than not doing the negatives.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if you want to attract someone to spiritual life, the first things you tell them isn't, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. First things you do is, here's chanting Hare Krishna, here's kirtan, here's some prasadam. You don't even need to mention the rules. I mean, Srila Prabhupada, when he first came to America, he didn't mention the rules at first. He just gave them the holy name, and so it's that like you were saying, Paramjit Vandavat, that you experience the higher taste, and then that makes you naturally want to give up the lower thing.
I thought it was interesting. You hosted a podcast but maybe a couple of years ago with Pali and Parjanya, I think.
Oh yeah.
And
last year that was good fun.
Yeah, and
I'll
Pali.
have to get them on maybe again.
Yeah, well, I've been India with them soon, so I'll do a few.
Yeah, you should. Definitely. But I remember Pali saying, when she first, came in contact with Krishna consciousness, I guess in New Zealand, and she heard about the rules, she was actually relieved. And I thought for myself it was kind of similar, although I was attached to breaking them. I still thought, oh wow, there's like a group of people where it's actually normal not to do these things,
Yeah.
So you can see, you can project yourself and think, okay, well, if I live among them, then once again it will rub on me, and I'll be able to live peacefully with that lifestyle that I always wanted to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember just being a teenager, and there's just so much pressure. Like, oh no, you gotta go out, and you gotta get intoxicated, and you gotta have sex, and you gotta do this, and you gotta do that. You know?
Yeah.
There's no question of not like if you want to be cool or a normal person, you got to go for these things.
Yeah.
You know, and then like Paddy Gopi was saying, yeah, you know, she was really. Oh, it was for her. It's such a relief. It's like, oh, we don't have to pretend like we like these things anymore.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't have to. Like, I remember, I've said a few times, but when I stopped taking intoxication, I still go out with my friends because I had a friendship with them, and I'd go to the bars and but if I wasn't drunk, I'd look around and just realize, like, what we're doing is really crap. You know? It's just crap. And it's boring. You know, you gotta be intoxicated in order to think it's fun.
Right.
You know, you can't just be completely sober and then just like, what are we doing? Okay, so music.
But
Gonna move to the dance floor, you know.
I mean, I remember the same with me. You know, with my friends. You know, it's just okay. So you get intoxicated because also it gives you like an illusory sense of like you can go a little deeper in the relationship. So like you take intoxication and then you say I love you, and then you can start to like.
Oh, especially if you took like ecstasy or something.
Yeah, this kind of thing. You know, and but it's just so artificial. It's so artificial, and then you know when the moment passes and you go back to being with your friend, and it just gets boring again, and then you think, oh, when is the next moment I'm going to be able to get high with them?
I was thinking the same. I always just think I want something real and authentic. Like they did an experiment a few years ago where they found a drug that makes you feel like you're in love. So they gave it to these couples, and generally the male gender, they were just like, oh, this is great, yeah, I feel in love. But eventually the ladies first, and eventually both of them, but the ladies started to think, well, is this real? You know, I got this relationship here, but they want something authentic. They want something real. They didn't want to be with their partner because they took a certain drug that made them feel in love.
Right.
It just wasn't the same. Yeah. They want something that's authentic, and they're real. Like, do they really love me? You know, and that goes into all of our relationships. That's all pervading. You know, so am I really having a good time? Am I really happy? You could take some drug and have some intimate relationship with your friend or whatever, but you want to, what's the real deal?
And this is why it's sad, and this is why, you know, you were talking about that article where you know, people are from the age of like 17 to 30 are so lonely these days, and the loneliest of
highest loneliness bracket, more lonely than people over 70 statistically is young people in Britain.
Yeah, it's really sad, you know. But I don't know if we have time.
No, definitely.
We have time, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
It's just a really quick thing. Well, I mean, so I've been listening to that guy, which I'm sure a lot of people know. His name is Jocko Willink. He's an ex-SEAL. And he is the kind of...
What's the SEAL name? Oh, Navy SEAL.
Navy SEAL.
Navy SEAL.
He used to be a SEAL in his past life. I don't know. No, that's an owl.
Okay. Yeah. Moo. Woof.
And so anyway, he's the kind of guy that you wish you had instead of your mind, you know, like that motivates you to just like, you know, just get things done, you know.
Right.
And he was explaining two things. He was saying in military term, you have strategic thinking and you have tactical thinking. Strategic thinking is when you're thinking on the long term, like instead of just trying to win that particular battle, you're thinking the big picture. You're thinking about how to win the war, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe, you know, in order to win the war, you'll lose a couple of battles, but you don't get disheartened because you know what the overall goal is, you know. And tactical means this is basically reactionary. You know, it's like you have a situation and you have to react now, you know, in the instant. So, and he's explaining about that, you know, in order to win the war, in order that your strategic goals get achieved, you also need tactical wins. So it means, like, for example, you know, your goal may be I want to lose 10 kg, and you know, comes Sunday feasts and second serving of sweets coming up, you know. Well, then you are brought to make a tactical decision whether I accept the second serving or I don't, you know. And you've
been there many times.
Yeah, been there many times. And if, you know, in your mind you're not thinking about your overall goal, then you're just gonna go with what the senses want. So therefore, you're gonna go with you know, taking the second, third, and fourth serving of
So you're
crumbling
saying
custard.
strategy is thinking long term of your overall top, like Shreyas, you'd say, your top. So then a tactical is reacting to the sort of situation as it comes up.
Yeah, so I guess, if you're on a battlefield, just tactical is like, okay, you're in there already, and you have to, respond to situations straight, as they come, But strategic is like, you may be in the back room and just like think about, how to like win,
I can imagine. And strategic is also thinking, how am I going to react when these inevitable situations come up, which threaten my goal or my vow, and also like you were saying, that the losses in the battles, like how, because inevitably when we try to sustain a habit, there are going to be days where it just seems impossible to to keep it up. So you have to kind of you have to kind of expect those losses and think of strategize how to.
So strategy is like, here's the fellowship, we take the ring to Mordor. But tactical is, oh no, Boromir's died, fellowship's broken up.
What are we gonna do?
What are we
There's
gonna
a big
do now?
spider,
Yeah.
But if at that time you know that you still have to bring the ring to the Mordor, then look, your tactical decision is gonna be based on your strategic vision,
Okay,
and then you're gonna still go to the Mordor with Sam, and you're gonna
So Aragorn and that will distract the eye. And got you.
That's it. Yeah, maybe I should add that to my talk.
Yeah. This is Chewbacca.
But so I thought it was really interesting, because it's just so frustrating to, you know your situation, you know that you're not satisfied in whatever habits you have, and this is frustrating, and you tried so many times to change by even, you try to plan things and everything, but then somehow you fail again, and then you become disheartened, and then it takes you, days, weeks, sometimes months, or even more, to just like go back into, okay, I'm gonna try to face again that great demon, which is, polluting my heart,
Yeah.
So a simple solution that, this guy says in this podcast, but you find everywhere in the Bhagavatam, and the Vedic scriptures, is, you have to have a vision. You have to know where you're going. It's what Taraknas even said this morning in class, isn't it? That, you have to have an overall idea that, okay, I want to be, a servant of Krishna, And what does that look like? And you may need to make, you talk quite a few times about SMART goals. You may have to, before you reach the ultimate goal, you may have to have like smaller, achievable and time-bound goals. Like
that's exactly what. Actually, can you pass that book, Prema? Sankalpa Kamodi, where this is the book. Show the camera. This book is very nice by Shiv Ramaswamy. I mean, it's obviously quite esoteric. There's books to read before this, but I was thinking as you were talking about it, because this also talks a similar thing. You have a sankalpa. You have he says there's two different types of sankalpas, which means like determinations. So one is your overarching, like, okay, this is the target I want to get to. For us, it would be achieving bhav, a certain stage of love of God, and then he said it's like a staircase where you have, and these are also, so that's an overarching sankalpa, and then that's broken down into many different sankalpas. So he says it's like ascending a staircase, and it's sankalpa after sankalpa. So sankalpa means like a determination or a goal. So you have your overarching goal, but then you have many different little goals or little steps. Okay, what's the next step I should take in my spiritual life? So you might not be able to do everything at once, but it might just be like, okay, I got to make sure I get up a certain time in the morning or something, or I got to start chanting a certain. So you just do that, and then once you've got a secure footing there, then you move on to the next one, right?
And it's just that, like achieving small goals is encouraging.
Yeah.
Like, because you win more and more, you make these tactical wins, and it becomes like, okay, I can do this, and then you add, these wins into your, your satchel of win pins, and then you take them out and you say, I won, I had that tactical win before, and I know it encourages you to win more, So this is important, like if you can just master just waking up in the morning, then that's a goal that will help achieving so many other goals also, just one example, but
we did a video on that once. We did a video like of when we did the spiritual fitness course about how to control one's mind, and it was actually one of the sort of measuring sticks of highly successful people, a lot of what you'd call successful, whether they're very wealthy or very high, achieved any sort of high standard of achievement in sports, whatever, their old field of activity was just getting up early in the morning.
Yeah.
It was like a huge factor that was like common in all sorts of successful people.
Yeah. Yeah, and once you feel like you can do that, then it opens the horizon. You start to feel like more sense of freedom to actually decide your path in life, isn't it? So what about the listener might be thinking, okay, I want to set my goal, I want to set a sankalpa, but what's the most important kind of goal or sankalpa to make,
I mean, so like, I don't know what you think, but obviously, you want to be very clear on what you actually want, and you want to. So I feel like first thing first, the most important thing is just take a little bit of time and just think, think about it, or just, journaling is such an incredible tool because it helps you to just lay out on the paper. You just put your thought, instead of having like a merged soup of so many different ideas and not necessarily getting really confused about what I actually want, then you write it down. And then from that, you start to like condense it to making a plan, And you can try to observe, okay, what is happening in my life right now? What are my main obstacles? What are the enemies I'm fighting with every day?
Yeah.
And maybe you can start with, if instead of going straight for the Balrog, you go to, the little goblin, to go on with the beautiful.
Anyone who's wondering what that sound was, that was Prema doing an impression of a goblin, right?
They sound horrible, don't they?
It was very good.
No, I'm not doing well with the impressions.
Maybe you can put a special sound effect on this, and you'll sound better.
Yeah. I'm gonna cover it. So I'm just thinking now, like,
moving on.
Because like based on that, there's like, then we have the chanting, the Maha Mantra, which is like gives you some mystical power to take control of your life again and to smash these bad habits. So what's happening there? Like, I mean, we've all experienced that, like the connecting with the Maha Mantra. Yeah, you're just filled with this courage to almost this detachment to kind of step away from these things you didn't even know maybe were bad in the first place.
So I guess obviously your first goal of a life is to perfect or chanting. So in one sense, you could journal as for the rest of your life and miss that. So it's a good point to just obviously you put it in the forefront if you without a good job. But the problem is like we have such disturbed minds that you have to have like tools that help you to see it, to reflect on it.
So that's like more for like devotees or like people who are practicing. I was kind of referring to like someone who doesn't chant already, and wants to kind of. You got something there, Gopal?
Well, no, sorry. Am I distracting you because I'm looking at this book while you're talking?
No.
it just felt like get something right on it.
Well, so let me just read this because some of this will explain, but this will just take 2 minutes. Patience. In the first two parts of this book, we introduce and define sadhana bhakti, which is practices for spiritual life, which is the ultimate science of perfection. So the goal is ecstatic love. With that clear objective in mind and with spiritual rewards that objective holds, sadhakas or practicing devotees can move forward from their current level of advancement with enthusiasm. So the many steps towards bhav are known as sankalpas or determinations. And many steps there will be. After all, it is rare that success can be accomplished in one giant step, such as single sankalpa for bhajana kriya to bhav. So actually it's broken down. There's many steps in spiritual advancement. It is true that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately exhibited ecstatic symptoms upon taking initiation, but he was the Supreme Lord. And we generally see that even great devotees require many steps and many years to attain or to disclose their perfection. It is therefore not unreasonable to assert that the journey to Krishna is not an overnight affair. So it was in relation to what you were saying earlier about, do you know what I mean? You have an overarching goal, but then there's many steps. And it's unreasonable to think that to achieve perfection, that there's just one giant step and you're there.
Right.
In fact, you should acknowledge that, okay, it's going to take many different victories.
Yeah. But the point of the process, given, the process of bhakti, is that throughout the whole time, if you do it properly, it's joyful.
Yeah.
You actually get reciprocation.
Susakam kartam avyayam.
Straight away, isn't it?
Raja vidya Raja guyam. It's the king of all religion, king of all knowledge, joyfully performed.
Yeah.
Because it gives direct perception of the self by realization.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is why I guess, this is so distinct from any other processes that you can find. The process of bhakti, and one may doubt about it, but then he may. If he wants to be convinced about it, he just can try the experiment, isn't it? Yeah. Just join the Bhakti laboratory, isn't it? So I don't know about, your point that you were making about, if a new practitioner or someone coming to it, what can you repeat what you were saying?
I was just kind of making the point that, I was finding it interesting that chanting the Maha Mantra then, it kind of fuels your ability to become motivated to give up things that you might not even know you should give up before, like the power of the chanting is it helps you see reality in a clearer way, and it changes your perspective on things that you might have had a different perspective on before. Well,
Chaitodharpana Marjanam is it some Vitam Svakatha Krishna Punyam Shravanam Kirtana, that by associating, the examples given, you put an iron rod into fire and it becomes bright hot and it takes on all the qualities of fire, but you take it out, it cools down quickly. So it's only by associating with the spiritual energy, by chanting Hare Krishna, by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, then one's naturally starts to get cleaned. And these lower modes of nature, with these sort of different modalities of the material world, they start to recede and the mode of goodness becomes prominent. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about one of the qualities of the mode of goodness is that all the senses become illuminated with knowledge. So you start to see things as they really are. So just by doing, like you're saying, just by doing the processes of bhakti, naturally one will start to, and Dadami Bodhi Yogam Tam Krishna from within the heart will help one make spiritual advancement, but naturally start to see things as they are.
Right.
You naturally become attracted to conducive things that are conducive to the mode of goodness. You naturally become repulsed by things that are the lower modes.
Right.
I think this is like one thing that, sometimes when people ask you, okay, what is that convinces you that what you do is right, and I was thinking, and I think this is really, for me, one really important aspect is, that it broadens my vision. It helps me to feel part of like a bigger picture, because obviously you're connecting with Krishna, which is the absolute. So therefore, and you get remembered, that way you remember that you're also part of it. So it's just feeling of like completeness, is something that I feel personally it's like an experience that you have, and that for me is very, convinces me to stick around,
That's true. Can I just say also, if anyone's hearing a small child screaming in the background, that's
I thought it was Prema.
Yeah,
that's because where we are at the minute is in our new T Krishna temple, one of the rooms, and next door to us is a nursery. So it's not like we don't have any like people screaming for help, in the basement or anything like that.
Yeah,
or do we? So, so if anyone wants to investigate us, just let you know that's a little.
I was wondering on your thing, different point now. I'm gonna go away from that. Does it mention micro habits? Have you heard of micro habits before?
No, please do tell.
I thought this was quite interesting. I can't say who this, who created this or kind of like popularized this idea.
Why
but it makes sense because it's something I picked up long ago. But so micro habits is like, if you want to build a habit, then you need to do it for at least something like 28 days.
Oh yeah,
before.
But that's why we did the fitness challenge in COVID.
Yeah.
Spiritual Fitness Challenge. It was a 21-day challenge or something.
Right.
Because that's how long it takes to build a habit.
Yeah. So 21, something like
or
that.
Something like that, yeah.
But the point is that
Sorry,
a lot of
Prima,
people
yeah.
make, that's all right. a lot of people make habits that are like, they're a bit too ambitious, so they're difficult to follow. But the micro habit is like that you make the habit so easy to follow that it's just there's no way that the mind is going to come up with anything. If it was a sport, then it would be like, a few minutes or something. Or if it was meditation, okay, I'm going to do 2 minutes a day, and I'm not going to increase it, but I'm going to keep that going for a certain amount of time, just so it's so easy. And then if you actually get the momentum of doing it for, over a month or something, then you can gradually increase. But the point is you've built it into your habit. You built it into the, into your, it's become like rock solid, the habit,
It's like second nature.
Yeah. So, and I was encouraging someone with chanting with that, because a lot of people get quite, okay, I'm going to do 1 hour, 2 hours, but if it's not realistic and you lose a day or two, it's just difficult to start up again. Like Deva Amrita Swami, right? He started with one bead.
That's just one mantra. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Finished for the day.
How many seconds is that, But if you can do that once a day for a month, you will see a difference and you will be inspired to continue and increase, Yeah.
But in the meantime, you also have to keep, that you also need to want more, So it's like, okay, I'm going to do the habit of like chanting on one bead. Well, it's not actually your overall goal, Your overall goal is to chant a whole round.
More than one. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
There you go, pretty wrong.
No. That's part of it.
I'm just deepening.
That's part of it. You've got the goal. You've got the goal. I want to be the best chanter in the world. I want to be the best, the best pianist or whatever. But you understand that to build that habit, then you need to start small. Start realistic.
I think that's exactly like Vaishesh. We lower the bar. He was telling us we do the monthly Sankirtan festival. We try and get everyone out to distribute books, etc. But he says what you got to do is you just lower the bar so much that you make it so easy. Like he said, actually the goal isn't to go out and distribute books. The goal is just to all go out on the pavement. We take a picture together. Then what happens after that is up to you.
Nice.
So I guess that exactly like you're right. Yeah. Okay. I want to start going to the gym. You might want to go to the gym and work out. But don't make that your goal, because the hardest thing might just be to get through the door. So you just tell your mind, okay, I'm just going to drive to the gym. I'm just going to stand in front of the door, and that's all I got to do. But once you're there, you think, or like Vaishesh says because he does a lot of going out and distributing books. So he'll tell his mind, because his mind's like, oh, I don't want to go out today. And he says, well, we don't have to go out. All you have to do is just pack your books together. That's all you got to do. And then it's like, okay, so he packs his books together. And then he said, okay, we're just going to go sit in the car. And I said, it's okay, mind. You don't have to freak out. We're not going to go in the book. We're just going to go sit in the car for a little bit. Yeah. And then he just builds up. Then we're going to drive to the street. And then we're going to walk on the street. And then mind's like, no, we're just walking on the street. I'm just walking with my books. I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing book distribution yet. And then when he's out there, he's like, oh, well, I might as well start now.
Oh, you tricked me.
Yes.
So I guess those are the micro habit type thing.
But what about, because you announced, last weekend, campaign for this year of a 60th anniversary of ISKCON. Is this something that we can talk about here?
Yeah, we'll try and do 60 books.
I'm just thinking, because Prema is mentioning about how to lower the bar, so it can be easy for people. But if the goal is for that campaign to distribute 60 books in a year, it's not that you necessarily have to just like distribute them, just go on the street or anything. You can just, as long as they go out in somehow.
Yeah, first step for that would be get 60 books, even if it's little books or something, or a couple. But stay tuned, because Gauranga Gopal will be doing a video on that soon.
Oh.
Gauranga Gopal is going to do a little, maybe film it today, but a little
campaign video.
Little campaign video to get everyone
a trailer
inspired. Yeah,
that's exciting.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
And the point is, if you do that, then you'll experience something which will give you the motivation to do that without, like, you have to do it until you want to do it, kind of thing,
And if you start by like leaving a book in on a bus or at the waiting room in the dentist, then you still get a taste for if you see it being picked up by someone or something, and then it eventually, it'll give you more and more confidence that, and you get the experience of that book distribution as well.
Yeah. for anyone new who's listening, we have a culture of not only cultivating spiritual knowledge, but distributing spiritual knowledge. It's like breathing in and breathing out. And when you actually, make an effort to distribute spiritual knowledge, then you also get a taste to dive deeper into the spiritual knowledge. And that's something that we, experience. And it's such a huge motivation for spiritual life, So that's why you might see us out on the street distributing lots of books or setting these targets, 60 books a year, it's like, it's just it's a device to get you to try it. And then once you try it, you'll get this feeling from it that is unlike anything else. Yeah,
you naturally want to share a wonderful thing we found, and then people just say, here it is, take it or leave it. They read the book. Sometimes they come to the temple, try the kirtan, try the prasadam. We're just giving people the opportunity to, as you said, enter the Bhakti laboratory. And when they get to a certain level of enthusiasm, we kidnap them, put them in the basement, and hook them to the brainwashing machine. And then once you're in the brainwashing machine, then it's game over.
But when I think about it, this is like one of the main motivation for doing that is for going out and sharing brainwashing.
There's one downstairs that you can hear right now.
Yeah, all the kids screaming.
But it's like thinking, well, someone went out of his way to share the wisdom and eventually met me, and from that encounter, then I got introduced to that practice, and now I'm so grateful. So and
I'm grateful to that person as well, because you're such a dear friend and a wonderful person.
You are too.
Thank you. See, we appreciate each other on the Welsh Yogi.
There's a wholesome.
No, you, Prima.
Oh, yeah. Can you leave the room for a moment? But yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I do love you.
Anyway, I think
we've hit
that's a wonderful podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we will be in touch soon. I mean, next time we'll probably see anyone in the cyberspaces. I'll be in India with Taraknath, Mishrani, Pali, Prajanya, and Gopi Gita. So we'll try and film a few things and do a few podcasts there. Well, I guess you, Prema, and you guys continue here. But there might be a bit of change of scenery in some of the episodes coming up, I imagine. But
that would be really nice, yeah. Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Haribo.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami